Holy shit. Holy shit. What an episode. Episode 3 of the Lord of Mystery Specials, The Marked Hunt Part 2. My gosh, after finishing this episode, I can honestly see why this had to be adapted. I mean, I see a lot of stuff in here that's very important, obviously, but the way this episode ended is seemingly extremely crucial here, because we essentially had the Church of Storms, Evernight Goddess, and Steam Machinery. They have all acknowledged there is another group. Somebody that's not in our organizations have made a move. Now, I'm not sure exactly how they figured that out. I'm assuming that based on, seeing some whispers here and there, they acknowledged that there was a concerted effort to take down this target. Hey, we were trying to find him, and we barely got here in time. Somebody else got ahead of us. And so they have to have an informant group. No single person would have figured this out. This guy, Azic, had to have worked with somebody to have known that he was here. This single person could not have sussed this out. But again, this puts a bullseye on the Tarot Club. This is an acknowledgement that all these organizations have acknowledged that there is a group. Now, and I can see that being important because essentially whenever Audrey kind of works out of play, or somebody that Audrey works with works out of play, they'll acknowledge that it's all working to a single point. Yes, the Tarot Club is meeting somewhere that's like sort of out of dimension, seemingly, in this different plane of existence. But it's still this aspect that they're aggregating information and coming together with a single cause. And again, that is an organization that is now, seemingly how this is put, is a group that has to be taken down. That's crazy. They took down basically a terrorist. They took down a terrorist and people are seeing them as a threat. This message says secret organization unknown. Their strength is unknown. No members include one high-sequence death pathway, which we're going to get into in a minute. I was about to talk about that. It's so crazy. Plus a sequence 3 or above demigod, which it's odd that it's placing that separate. I'm not sure if that's a mistranslation there, but it's almost like they're separating the two of them. Either way, danger level unknown. The church, all the different groups, united to place this organization on a A-level bounty list. Now, I don't know if that bounty list means that they have to be hunted down and taken down, or simply they want to find them. Here's a bounty to find them for us. But bounty typically is like attack. Well, we'll see. It could just be capture. It doesn't say, dead or alive. It could be simply they want to find them so they can communicate with them. Again, this is a group that may potentially, basically take us down. And so they are a threat. So again, that's huge. That is massively important because that means that everything that Klein does in the future is going to be under a microscope. It's already going to be under a microscope, but this again sort of does put them it's going to be literally later on. You're going to have individuals coming out and saying they're probably going to have to give it a name at some point. That this unknown organization, and Klein's going to be like, "Oh crap, that's us, that's us." It seems like Audrey's all for it. I think Audrey's going to be all for it. Ooh, the Tarot Club is being known by the public now. We're this secret organization. They don't know about this. We're doing good deeds. Audrey's probably over there like, God damn it, we're going to get more attention. I don't want this attention. Anyways, like I said, really incredible episode. Let's get to talking about what I want to talk about. Let's be honest. There's another very important thing that we have to discuss about this episode is the appearance of Azic. I think we all assumed it was going to be Azic that was going to show up. Again, not his blessed, but this individual that's going to show up. I think he said something effective like, I hope what I sent is sufficient or something like that. I'm like, if it's Azic, I'm going to assume it is. But damn, I was really expecting with this fight that Kalangos was going to end up getting what he needed in order to move up. Because, yeah, when he ends up going up against Azic, it's no contest. It's literally no contest. He's literally there. He does something to try to knock it back. Does like this light effect, which we'll get talking about in a minute. This light effect attacking, and literally Azic's like, whatever, I'll just summon like 50 of these things, and they'll just pin you down. And it seems to imply that like he basically just rotted him. Like it just absolutely gave him death. That just made his entire body rot in front of Alger. Like it's just done. It's just done. He just literally killed him. You got that snake guy, or whatever his name is, was like, no, don't bother. He's dead. You don't even have to go out there. It's done. He already detected this was done. I don't remember exactly where I was placing Azic. I knew he was going to be really high. I assumed that he was going to be up there. I think my initial predictions was around like a 4, maybe 3. I don't think I ever got to 2. And now again, they're predicting this. They said that he's of demigod level. He may perhaps even be sequence 2 angel. Like they're thinking he may be that high. But a lot of them are saying at least 3. So we can at least say it's got to be at least 3. And I'm going to assume, based on what they were talking about there, is they used beyond our powers or whatever. They did an investigation, and I'm guessing they're able to sort of detect what was used or what kind of abilities would have had to been used. What happened to Kalangos? Like what affected him? What kind of spell that was? Oh, well, that's in this area of the potentials of, death, the pathway of death. And so we can assume that because this was used on him, they have to be at least sequence 3. But I would maybe think that with how easily he took him down or something like that, that it could be as high as 2. Either way, I wasn't expecting 2. That is absolutely insane. And again, for Klein to have this guy as a friend, again, not a blessed. It's not somebody that he is control. I'm guessing the blessed thing is somebody that is like a disciple of, that you gain your powers from them. And so they're assuming that the fool is giving this guy power, but that's obviously not the case. That is more the fact that, again, that he did something for Azic, and now Azic sort of sees him as a friend and wants to help him out whenever he needs. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I was saying after that whole thing, and I'm like, I'm hoping he grabs the stupid creeping hunger thingy jig, because that thing's insane. That thing is insane, dude. Like the entire episode, that was so freaking cool. Like the whole sequence of Kalangos going to attack this guy. It's like he literally runs up there and he's just popping out these abilities. Like I'm assuming that he probably has to know every single ability that has been absorbed by this thing, or maybe he just gets knowledge of it, like a list of things that this thing can do. But he's just throwing out things left and right as he's going along, just summoning all these different bits. What all did he end up using? Let me go back here to the fight itself. He first uses Psychic Piercing, which is Arbiter, which again, Arbiter is Chion. Chion, I think, had that ability, the one that's with Force Wall. They have Arbiter, so this shows a Sequence 7 version of it, has this interrogation ability, which affects the person. And then after this imprison thing that, the guy uses, he ends up using this Frenzy ability, which is Sequence 7 Psychiatrist. And then he uses the Faceless thing, which is from the Seer pathway, Faceless. So, like, he's just pumping out all these different things. But again, the coolest thing that I noticed later on was when he gets attacked by Azic, or at least the skeletons, he immediately uses Priest of Light, Light of Holiness, which is the Bard pathway. Sequence 5, Priest of Light. That was the moment where I'm like, okay, never mind. I guess that, Derek got what he wanted. Because the moment that pillar of light just suddenly appears and just zaps down, I'm like, okay, Derek's good. This is the light that he was hoping for, the light that he can bring to his land, which technically does make sense if this is some sort of like what it seems to imply there, which is, again, this pathway has a Priest of Light, this ability. It makes me think this is sort of like a holy tree. This particular pathway is almost like a holy one, like some sort of priest would be within. And so they can be somebody that can go across the land and bring light to it and bring some sort of purification to the land. So I guess it does sort of line up that Bard could be exactly what Derek ends up needing for this land. But again, that glove's insane. And it's funny because Kalangos really does sort of get drunk on that ability. That he's able to kind of just use all these different abilities, draw them out and attack with them, flee with them, and then go out here, have this attack happen to him, and he's on top of it. I'm never going to lose with this glove. And I think he almost gets a little bit too confident. That was the point. Azic's like, yeah, whatever, I'll just throw more at you, and then I'll just get you squished. Good night, take the glove, whatever, peace out. I wonder if he's going to end up bringing it to Klein, or if he's just going to keep it. Because if Klein gets that glove, that would be insane. I don't know. Would Klein want it? Again, it's basically cursed. Like, if it doesn't have something to consume, it's going to consume the wielder. I don't think Klein would want to wear that, because he would have to constantly be taking lives. What was it, like every other day that it has to consume something? That's not something you want to wear. That's not something that most people want to wear. Unless you have like some sort of connection to, like, I don't know, death row or something like that, so you can like have some people to take out on a regular basis. Or again, you just don't care about the morality behind that. You just want to consume things and be powerful. You have to either have a very twisted mind and very, again, desensitized to killing, or be basically a judgment guy, like some sort of person that exacts judgment upon things. But anyways, a really, really cool thing there. I'm curious what Azic, I'm just assuming they're just going to lock it up somewhere. That's probably what's going to happen in the end, which makes me kind of wonder if it's not being worn, does it not need to consume? It's only if it's being worn when it has to consume, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe Azic will just put it on. I don't think he needs it. Again, if he's 2, he doesn't. It's cool though. Like, it's literally like this big pocket of like a Swiss Army knife of abilities. Like all these different abilities that have like their own unique coolness to them. And it was actually really cool to kind of see all these abilities, because it sort of does give me an interesting perspective into all these different pathways and what they're able to do. Like cloaking your appearance, again, the Arbiter, all that kind of stuff. It's really cool stuff. And yes, does sort of point out the different powers of things that this thing has consumed in the past. It's crazy. It's super crazy. But yeah, the rest of the episode outside the fight was pretty solid. Having a little scene with Audrey. Her picking up on the Baron, which I was like, girl, if you don't, thank you. Okay, she picked up on it. And what was more cool, though, is that she's alerted by this, realized that it could be him, and rushes up there to tell her father. I'm so thankful the father's actually receptive. I'll be curious if the novel actually gets into details of what she told him, because that seems like what would she tell him? Hey, father, the Baron's acting weird. I think he might be this feigned person of a shapeshifter or something like that. Maybe he has some sort of a beyonder ability to do that. Like, what did she tell him? Because he ends up taking it seriously. He literally sends somebody to be at the guy's side, and he's even there at the fight itself. Like, they both show up. Like, he shows up in force to protect this guy. I do like the fact that guy is also not an absolute wimp. He was an Arbiter, too. I think he was an Arbiter, if I remember correctly. Judge or something like that. Yeah, Arbiter, Pathway, Judge, Sequence 6. So he's powerful himself, and then he has the Nighthawk guy there with them. So, again, I'm glad the father actually listened to what she said and actually was there on top of it. Now, granted, again, she eventually does pray off to the Fool, and the Fool relays that information to Alger, and then Alger's like, of course, he's freaking out the fact that he's literally in the church and the Fool is able to communicate to him. He's like, wow, the guts of the Fool. He's so powerful. He's not even fearing communicating to me here, whatever. Or maybe it's the fact that he's in that area and that he's able to receive that. It seems like he's not able to get his prayer back to Klein. He's like, yeah, crap. I can't let these guys get a hold of Kolongos. But then somebody comes busting in the door and says they've located him. So it does seem like, again, that this organization, they have been doing their due diligence. They have found where Kolongos is. It's not just Audrey. Audrey's not the only one that has figured this out. These organizations are smart. They are keeping an eye on him. They are tracking him, and they figured out where he's at. So it could be the fact that she came to her father, said that, and he's like, yeah, we already know that too. We're already on top of it, and they were ready for it. Because, again, yeah, they have, like, all of their group ends up showing up. The Church of the Storms, they all show up. So I'll be curious to see more of Ace Snake, the guy that was with Alger. Again, he seemed to pick up very quickly that the fight was over. He seemed to have picked up on something. He must have picked up on this insane threat that's literally destroyed Kolongos. But no, I like when the dust settles with everything, like how everybody reacts to it differently. Audrey's here overhearing them discuss the fact that this guy's been taken down. And she's like, mission complete. That Fool and his blessed is so amazing. He's got such powerful people behind him. They're talking about how, again, this guy is like potentially Sequence 2. And she's like, of course he would have command over somebody as powerful as that. First mission is completed. Like, so this whole thing is about like the fact that the Tarot Club has their first mission. She's super excited about it. And this shut-in girl that's just, prim and proper, finally having her moment of excitement. She's like, yes, mission successful. Alger's over here just having literally a panic attack. He the entire time's like, he talked to me when I was in the church. And now I come out here and I literally just witness death itself. An angel descend upon the land and evaporate my old friend that I thought was untouchable. This guy that was a Sequence 6 that had a Sequence 5 glove on that was able to do anything, literally just obliterated him. Prayer. He's just literally in like fear and awe of the Fool. It's like, again, the reaction differences here. And again, literally the organization's going, holy shit, what's going on? We got to stop this thing. We have to find this organization because they have somebody very powerful behind them. But that's good stuff. It's good stuff. But yeah, overall, really, really cool episode. I like the fact that this episode was only 18 minutes. Yes, it kind of sucks because, like, God, I would love a longer episode, but I love this. I love the last episode was longer. and this one was a little bit shorter. I love being able to have a company put together episodes just however long they need to be. I absolutely despise how so many of these anime are kind of stuck to these schedules of TV broadcasts specifically. If you're ONA, if you're on the net, make your episodes as long as they need to be, and then cut them off whenever you need to cut them off. You don't need to pad the episode out to make them last longer. So good on them for the production of this. Really solid episode. Looked absolutely amazing as usual, and just great stuff overall. I ate it all up. And we have to wait again. We had a little bit of a 3-episode taste, and now we have to wait again. But yeah, overall, I really liked particularly this little set of episodes for the Marked Hunt. I did love everything around Derek, again, getting his backstory, seeing how, like, absolutely... I want more of that story. Seeing how absolutely devastated that land is, and hopefully see how Derek himself, again, being secluded, because he can't just receive all he needs to just make it happen. He's got to use information to overcome it. I'm going to actually love to see how he himself, with, yes, some help with the knowledge and stuff like that, he himself is going to have to get up there physically and do it himself. Seeing that stuff is going to be great. But yeah, everything around the Marked Hunt was especially juicy for me. And again, it's a lot of this to do with the fact that we get to see the Tarot Club doing its first mission, seeing how they can come together and aid each other in order to get to the situation. Yes, technically a lot of it's just bringing in Azic. Let's admit that it was a little bit too simple, because it was simply just, oh, Azic was in the area. He just happened to be there. Let's just send him over there and he could just one-shot everything. But I still love it because I love Azic. I think he's a really cool character. I loved his backstory, and he's mad OP. Which, yes, does make me sort of concerned as to what that means in the future. I'm really concerned as to what they'll end up doing to keep Azic out of the picture, because I don't see this writer always using Azic as sort of a easy thing to get out of everything. Like, that every time a bad situation shows up, he just calls up Azic. Azic comes in and melts things. He either has to be out of the picture somehow, which may be a little bit too inconvenient there, or does something happen to Azic? Do these organizations literally come together because of what happened here and want to get rid of him because they see him as a massive threat, somebody that high? Again, I have theorized before that all these organizations are working together secretly to keep people from getting too powerful. That there's all these little kind of claims of it being too dangerous to do this, don't lose yourself here, don't listen to this voice. There's all these like little like rules and stipulations that are given to their individuals of their group to sort of keep them from progressing. They don't know how to, to digest the actual potion because they're not being told properly how to do it. Why? Because they don't want them to advance. That was like that whole thing where once Klein figured that stuff out, there was like this moment of like, let's throw him inside of a room and to interrogate him. Who'd you tell? Who'd you tell? It was purposely designed to keep people from progressing. They don't want people to be that powerful. Why? Because they can't control them. They can't control Azic, so he's a threat. All these organizations are coming together because they can't control Azic. They can't control this group. They got to figure out what this group is. So it has opened up a massive can of worms. Again, I can see sort of why this had to be adapted now because of just how crazy that last little scene is, that little letter that was typed up. Anyways, crazy stuff. Really, really good stuff, and I cannot wait for more. I told myself I was going to do this last time. I might actually finally sit down and watch all those little shorts. I told myself I would last time, but I didn't. So if I can get some time, hopefully this week before the next season starts, I'll do that and maybe make a video. If I don't by the end of this week, then I didn't get a chance and we'll have to wait again. But I thank you guys for watching as usual. Thank you guys for your support and all the fans of Lord of Mysteries that has supported me as well and not got too angry at me for my bad takes and misreads of stuff. But until next time, until the season 2 comes around, which hopefully will be this year, take care.